What if you could have the power of this, but have it work like this? Well, now you can. Introducing the Colonel Wasp 76, or the NERF MP-40. That'll put some hair on your rear. And I would make the argument that this is the best blaster money can buy. It's spooky season, which means it's the perfect time to check out this video's sponsor, Bloodline, Heroes of Lithis. Journey into a new world in this hero collecting RPG on iOS or Android completely for free, building up your kingdom and recruiting new champions to protect it. But not only are you fighting heroes, but you can combine their bloodlines of demons, orcs, demigods, lycans, and more to create your own unique champions, inheriting the talent, traits, and appearances of the originals, leading to over 800 different hybrid champions. With more characters released every month, new combinations are always being added, and there's constantly something new to look forward to. With the end of October fast approaching, Bloodline is starting its Halloween event on the 27th with the release of the new vampire clan, the Accursed. These terrifying and mysterious undead are cursed by a dark ritual that has given them a taste for blood, making them high-damage assassins that nuke their enemies and heal themselves from the damage dealt, giving them the ability to stick around during long battles. Featuring incredible 3D graphics and animated 2D artwork, epic storylines, and more, all while being free to play on your mobile device, there's many reasons to check out Bloodline today and start your own journey through the world of Lithis. Play the game right now using my link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen, and you'll get a special starter pack worth $20 for free, containing 10 energy potions, 100,000 gold, and 100 diamonds. And during the new Halloween event, you can unlock your own vampire champion for free just by playing. Thanks again to Bloodline for sponsoring this video, and just by giving the game a download, you are massively helping support this channel. Yeah, AEGs, well, we don't try to use the G term too much here, so we'll call them blaster, is a term that we don't use too much in the NERF hobby because NERF themselves haven't really used the setup all that often. In fact, here's every single AEB style blaster that I can remember. Oh, and there's the NERF Halo Needler thing, which is a reshell of the Power Swarm, but yeah. Those are electronic Springer blasters, and more recently, they've kind of come back in a big way. We took a look at the Challenger, which was one of the more exciting blasters in this new wave of AEBs, but there was one other blaster announced at the same time that had a lot of people really excited. I've had this thing for way too long now, and the Colonel Wasp 76 is just freaking amazing. It hasn't been perfect, but for a retail price of $150 for what you see in this, yeah, it's kind of hard to beat. Now, you may remember Colonel Wasp was the one who did my second favorite blaster of all time, the Firefly. This is the next blaster that they've developed, and it's an AEG. This entire setup is as simple as one motor up in the front and a trigger, and then an automatic spring plunger tube system. It just pulls the plunger tube back, and at a certain point, it releases it and springs it forward with air pressure, which makes the dart go out the barrel. And unlike the Challenger, this thing uses standard Talon magazine. And also, it's an MP40. It's unmistakably an MP40, although it's in clear, which is a lot more friendlier than if this thing was not clear, because then it would look like a firearm. Although it does look like an MP40 that's been through Call of Duty, because it's got a buffer tube style stock on the end of it and an AR style grip. And you can put a Picatinny on the top of it, but I decided against that. Because I can forgive the stock and grip, but I really want that big, huge front iron sight. Operating this thing couldn't be simpler because it's got an off button, an on button, and then a fire button, and it is fully automatic and only fully automatic. But the fire rate is in that perfect zone where it's useful as a full auto blaster, but then at the same time, it's easy to single shot it. And of course, it fires cut down Nerf darts, or in this case, the Adventure Force Pro darts. Now, this blaster does come disassembled, much like the Firefly, but unlike the Firefly, you aren't building the entire blaster from scratch. It basically just comes in two halves, with the stock grip and the barrel needing to be put on yourself. The barrel has two big grub screws that you just kind of thread in and puts in, it works. The grip is an AEG style grip, although the motor isn't mounted in the grip, but that also means that you could potentially put basically any AEG style grip on it. And some grips, especially if they have a dovetail on them, will require you to edit the grip to make it fit. The buffer tube and a stock is how the blaster originally comes. However, I'm using a different stock because I needed something to hold my battery. Yeah, out of the box, this comes with a different style connector because it's meant for an airsoft style buffer tube battery where it's a big, long, thin boy. I swapped that out for an XT60 connector, and then I can just kind of put it in like that. And then I got a Airsoft style battery holder stock. I'm just putting my LiPo in there like that, and then putting this to the 5th position, which for me is the perfect length of pull, and that locks into place. So my batteries, I don't have to have like a 3D print stock or anything, which is awesome. So with the battery in the stock the way it is, I can't actually put it anywhere beyond 5. So if you have really short arms, you might have an issue with that. And the solution is either buy the right type of battery that's meant for this blaster, which is an Airsoft battery, or 3D printing your own stock. What isn't awesome is that the stock is actually kind of a pain to put on. There's 2 screws for some reason, one of them shorter, one of them's longer. You have to use the longer screw, and you need like 3 hands to put it together, but it's just fishing it into place and threading it in. And then this little buffer tube ring can be kind of twisted on. You might want to push it with something. There are wrenches built for tightening that in so you can tighten to the blaster, but I found just taking a screwdriver and kind of pushing it will tighten it up enough, and then it's rock solid. But putting the whole thing together only takes a couple of minutes, and the performance you get is just insane. All right, brand new Adventure Force Pro Darts, NERF MP-40, Colonel Wasp 76, light spring, 215, 157, that's a deviation, 170, 174, 176, 175, 189, 189, 185, 196, 160, 194. And now, brand new Adventure Force Pro Darts with the upgraded spring. 213, 211, 194, 222, 216, 211, 208, 220, 194. Not the most consistent thing ever, but that's definitely a huge improvement. Now, there is one modification I have done to this blaster, and that's related to the barrel. Out of the box, the barrel sits inside of this plastic housing, but the plastic housing is pretty loose around the barrel, and that means the barrel's kind of free-floating, which means when you're firing it, it's gonna move every direction, and that's not great for accuracy. The modification I did was incredibly simple. I took the little plastic ring off the barrel that's meant as a stoppage for the Worker Cheetah 2.0, sanded it out a little bit with a Dremel, and just stuffed it down friction fit into the barrel. That acts as a shim that keeps my barrel rock solid and still allows it to reciprocate forward and backwards because that's imperative to the function of the blaster. So flywheelers are known to not be very accurate. Springers, however, are known to be very accurate. This is an automatic springer. It's a springer that acts like a flywheeler. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So you get high performance out of this blaster with both springs. You get good rate of fire with both springs, although the heavier spring load will decrease your rate of fire somewhat. But then your accuracy is freaking incredible. Now I get it, this is not the smallest blaster in the world, And honestly, normally I don't like these big, huge blasters, but this thing feels so good to use, and the specs are just unbelievably good that it's hard to argue against having something like this, especially for the price point. Getting a high-end flywheeler can cost a lot of money, especially getting one up to 200 FPS. A 200 FPS springer will also cost you quite a bit of money, especially one that's pump action magazine fed that can hit over 200 FPS. Granted, you'll have to order one off the internet. I bought this one off Monkey Mods, and thank you very much to Monkey Mods for sending this out to me. I did pay full price, but they did get it to me in a very reasonable time frame, and I've had it for a long time and haven't done the video, and I'm sorry about that. Now, I think the Challenger is much better for single fire, although it is select fire between single, 3-shot burst, and full auto. It also automatically stops when the magazine is empty, so you won't accidentally dry fire the blaster, which is not a good thing to do with a blaster like this. You will break it eventually. But that thing was too smart for its own good. It had its own special operations manual, and honestly, it was kind of annoying. And it used its own special magazines, which to this day, I still only have one of. And it was like twice the price of this thing. I would only recommend the Challenger to a few select people. But the Colonel Wasp Firefly, if you have a LiPo and you know not to dry fire the thing, it's well worth the money in every single possible facet. 200 FPS, full auto, magazine fed, with the accuracy you would get from a pump action blaster. Yes, it is the cheat code. You can make the argument it's a bit too long, but so would your pump action Springer. You don't have to wait for flywheels to rev up. You don't have that annoying flywheel rev up sound. I only have the standard Worker scar muzzle at the end of this thing. It's the plastic one, it's the cheap one. It's perfect for any blaster around 200 FPS, and this thing, even with a heavy spring load, is around 200 FPS. And the only issues I had with this thing beyond the barrel not being centered was for some reason, my plunger tube was completely dry after a couple of shots. That led to inconsistent performance, but once I lubed it, it was completely fine. And I have ran thousands of darts through this thing. I have brought it to multiple games, and I can't tell you how much not only I love it, but every single person I've ever handed it to loves it. Say hi, Anthony.
Don't know.
I'm gonna have you use the Worker Swift on the 10 shots on the target. You have 0 sights whatsoever. So show us what you can do. 10 shots.
Okay.
You have to push it forward. There you go. You have to, yep. You gotta beat 40. And you're done. And you got 73 with no sights. All right, 10 shots with the 76.
Let's go.
Gonna beat a 73.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. You almost beat my score with it.
And this is my first time firing it off. That is nuts.
You're also like a freaking natural. Unless you don't have a LiPo setup, you have no interest in dealing with LiPos, and you are completely allergic to any kind of work whatsoever, because again, it is finicky to put the stock on. You do have to kind of bolt the two halves of the blaster together. And like me, you may have to take it apart and lube the entire system. Then yeah, stay away. But I assume that's a small fraction of people, and everybody else, if you like what you saw here, you're gonna really like it once you get it. Colonel Wasp, you've outdone yourself. The 76 is a fantastic blaster in pretty much every single way, and I cannot recommend it enough. Again, I paid full price for this from Monkey Mods, but thank you very much to them for sending it out to me. I believe it was one of their personal units because at the time they were out of stock online. And that's all I've got for you. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm of course Walcom S7. Chances are if you got to the end of the video, you like what I do here, so maybe hit like, get subscribed, leave a comment, ring the bell, do all that algorithmic garbage to help the channel grow so you can help our hobby grow. And of course, hope to see you in an entirely different video.
You gotta